Okay, so for these problems, we're going to attack the first one, which says, how many moles of air are there? So that's what we're trying to find. And then I'm just going to start listing my other givens. Okay, so I've listed all the givens, and then the other thing is, what jumps out at me is I need to use PV equals nRT. And when I rearrange it, it's going to be PV over RT. Now, what is R? Now, I mentioned to you guys that you need to be able to convert your units back and forth from atmospheres to millimeters of mercury to kilopascals and torr. But I said, if you know how to do all of those, I recommended that you pick one R value and stick with it. And so the one that I have used a lot is the one for atmospheres, which is 0.0821. And the units for that are liters per atmosphere over moles in Kelvin, which means that all of my other units need to agree with that. So I've got liters, I have Celsius, which means that I need to convert that into Kelvin, so 292 Kelvin, and then I need to convert this pressure into atmospheres. So I brought this down below. Millimeters of mercury cancel, and it gives me an answer in atmospheres. So my pressure ends up, after a little bit of number crunching, equaling 0.098 atmospheres. Okay, so now I'm finally ready to plug all of this in. So that means that once I take all of these givens and plug them in with the proper units, I can solve for n. Okay, I wrote a little bit too big. This is getting messy. So here's my area of focus. And now I'm going to cross out things that cancel. So atmospheres cancel, liters cancel, Kelvin cancels, and it leaves me with 1 over 1 over moles, which ends up basically being moles. So if I do my number crunching on this, I find that my answer is 0.082 moles. That is the answer for the first one. A little bit messy, but I'm going to clear the screen. We're going to start over with the second one. Okay, for the second one, they say, you're given some grams, and they say, what is the pressure? So we're trying to find pressure, and what do we do with this? Well, I say, if we can convert this into moles, then we can use PV equals nRT, because our other givens are volume and temperature. So if we have volume, temperature, moles, we can solve for pressure, and we're done. Okay, so I've listed all of my givens, and if you look, I've already converted my Celsius into Kelvin, and I have this set up so I can do a conversion factor to convert my grams of hydrogen into moles of hydrogen. So the molar mass of hydrogen is 2.2 grams, and that equals to 1 mole. So that gives me a value for N of 0.89 moles. Now I'm ready to plug in. I'm going to rearrange this equation a little bit to solve for P. And I'm ready to plug it all in. So I plugged everything in, and if you notice, I used that R value that I like. And so that's going to give me a pressure in atmospheres, because that's what this is. So if I cancel everything out, moles cancel with moles, Kelvin and Kelvin, and liters, that's going to give me my pressure in atmospheres. Do a little bit of number crunching, and my answer is 5.1 atmospheres. Notice that throughout all of these problems, I've been careful of sig figs. This has 2. I kind of ignore sig figs for temperatures, because when you convert, that gets lost a little bit. But this has 2, and this has 2, and this has 2. Okay, so that's it.